Ah, a typical girls' gathering on any random day in the Kingdom of Spain, many years ago. Is this another regular meeting? Because to be honest, something's intrigued me. I mean, why is that man standing in the doorway like that? Who's this other man on the left looking directly at me? Who's this weird person standing in the shadows? Who's this little blonde girl in the center? Somehow, she seems to be someone important. Wait a minute, is that a picture of a couple back there? Right, it just looks like a slightly unusual picture. An essential question that I can't help but ask. Is the meeting a bore? I think the dog is peacefully sleeping. Well, I think it's already clear that Diego Velázquez, the great Spanish master responsible for this painting, is wanting to show different perspectives with Las Meninas. But what does each one of them mean? This is what you will find out today. Are you ready? Las Meninas was painted in 1656 in the Cuarto del Príncipe in the Alcázar of Madrid. This location, a high-ceilinged room that functioned as Velázquez's studio, is even the setting you can see here in the scene. Not only was the place real, but all the people who appear in this painting. Oh, the dog? I think the dog existed too. Anyway, these figures were part of the court of the royal family of Spain during the reign of King Felipe IV. Are you wondering who these people are? You'll get there, I'll show you later. First, let's take a general look. The meaning of the painting seems immediately obvious to anyone who sees it. It is a portrait of a group from the court, acting according to their roles in a specific location. Nothing too complicated, but as is usual in Velázquez's style, it's clear that there are meanings behind this common scene. Here, the group seems to pause in their activities for the arrival of the king and queen. The painting offers the viewer different fields of experience and perspectives, while letting them coexist in their varied interpretations. It is possible to notice at a first glance that the artist plays a game of perspectives with each member of the group, and it will be necessary to analyze each of the 11 figures to understand the whole. In the center foreground is Infanta Margarita Maria Teresa de Habsburgo, the only daughter of the king and queen. She's attended by two ladies-in-waiting who give the painting its title, The Girls, in Spanish. The first girl to her left is Doña Isabel de Velasco, who is ready to bow to the princess. The second girl is Doña Maria Agustina Sarmiento de Sotomayor, kneeling before the Infanta. You can see that Maria is offering Margarita a drink in a red cup, called a bucaro, on top of a golden tray. To the right of the Infanta are two dwarves. The taller one is the German, Marie Barbara, and the other is the Italian, Nicolas Pertusato, who is trying to wake the sleeping dog with his foot. Behind the girls and the dwarves, you can see Doña Marcela de Ulloa, the Infanta's chaperone, dressed as if in mourning. She seems to confide something to the guard beside her, but it is not possible to identify who he is or his reaction. Behind and to the right, standing in the open door in the background, is Don Jose Nieto Velázquez, the Queen's Chamberlain. He has the same last name as the author of this painting, so it is possible that he was a relative, but this information is not confirmed. But there are two curious presences in this painting. Have you noticed? First is Diego Velázquez himself on the left, standing in front of his canvas and looking directly at the viewer. The second one is the couple in the background. Can you see it? No, that's not a painting, but a mirror. Reflected are the faces of Felipe IV and Mariana of Austria, the Infanta's parents, who seem to be watching the scene taking place in that room. Gee, it's astonishing. Of all the figures present there, it is likely that Infanta Margarita caught your attention first. Here, she is only 5 years old, the only daughter of Felipe and Mariana, and later to become the Holy Roman Empress, German Queen, Archduchess of Austria, and Queen of Hungary and Bohemia. It's a lot of responsibilities, right? Anyway, here, her figure is painted in a lighter palette, and alongside her central position, making her the main focus of the painting. It may seem random to you, but the inclusion of the two dwarves in this painting confirms the fetish that the Spanish royal court had for dwarves. They were numerous at court during the 16th and 17th centuries. To the left of the scene is Velázquez. On his chest is the Red Cross of the Order of Santiago, which he would only receive for real 3 years after Las Meninas was completed. King Felipe IV himself eventually awarded the order as a tribute after the artist's death. What is now intriguing to note is Nieto's positioning. He's seen in a moment of pause, but with his right knee bent and his feet on different steps, so it makes it appear that his position is uncertain. Is he leaving the room or is he coming? The backlighting and the open door behind him end up drawing the eye to this figure. He also looks back at the viewer as if he is making an invitation to see what is beyond that door. However, the reflection of the royal couple in the mirror, also in the background, pushes the gaze back out of the frame, in the opposite direction. Nieto shares with the king and queen the viewer's point of view, unlike the figures in the foreground. Here, Velázquez seems to want to confuse the direct gaze of the subject and the perspective of the painting. Of the 11 figures represented in the painting, 5 are looking directly at the viewer. It is as if they are aware that they are being watched, but by whom? The viewer of the painting? Or by other figures that are not being shown directly? Well, it turns out that some art historians have already suggested that the image of the king and queen in the mirror may be a reflection of what Velázquez is painting. So, this would be a juxtaposition scene, revealing that Velázquez is not painting Margarita, but rather her parents. So where would they be? In the viewer's position? Are these 5 figures actually looking at Felipe and Mariana? It is a possibility. The truth is that the painting presents so many possibilities for interpretation that it may even make you question whether the world they are in is real or not. Is it all imaginary? But from whose imagination? Velázquez presents a dizzying puzzle that plays with the viewer's mind. Notice how the perspective lines of the canvas converge on a vanishing point that is in the open door behind Nieto, to then pull the eye through the work. Then, there's also the reflection on the mirror, which bounces the attention back out of the painting to reflect on what is possible and real in the work. The viewer is constantly pulled in and pushed out of the painting, creating a strangely elastic and imaginary dimension in a seemingly real and ordinary space. But, as I questioned a few minutes earlier, if this scene happened to be imaginary, who could be the figure within it responsible for this? What's your guess? Well, a material clue to this theory lies in the small, vibrant red object on Doña Maria Agustina Sarmiento's golden tray. In those days, the bucaro used to be a container where people drank water with spices and herbs. But it also had another use, especially among young women. They used to nibble the edges of the bucaro because the clay from which it was made had the property to lighten the skin, a trend at the time. But guess what was one of the side effects of consuming the clay of the bucaro? Hallucinations. So, if you notice that the bucaro is being held by the infanta, isn't she perhaps having visions after nibbling on the hallucinogenic clay? Even if you look closely, you will see that her skin is in fact very pale, and the shading under her feet gives the impression that she is levitating. It would make total sense. Could this very calm and ordinary scene be an escape from the infanta's mind, outside the reality of the royal family's commitments and obligations? That's quite a theory. What's your opinion? Okay, after all this analysis, you must be wondering why the title is Las Meninas and not La Infanta, for example. After all, the 2 ladies in waiting are not the focus or the main subject of the painting, but only supporting a scene from the daily life of the royal family. Well, it is speculated that the reason would be to show the royal family as more than just a traditional family, without all the political grandeur and prominence. However, by focusing on the Infanta Margarita and her royal status, Velázquez gives the painting a certain political touch. This ends up creating another one of his games. The main theme is related to reality, but by adding his own presence and including the mirror with the king and queen, he seems to ask the viewer to reflect on the laws of representation and the limits between painting and reality. Las Meninas is Velázquez's most famous painting, where he strove to create a complex composition that conveyed a sense of life and reality amidst a dense work of meanings. So, which theory of Las Meninas makes the most sense to you? Did you enjoy experiencing the various perspectives of this chaotically amazing painting? Yes, you could spend hours reflecting on its effect and meanings. If you enjoyed it, make sure to like the video, subscribe to my channel, and turn on the notifications for upcoming videos. See you next time!